Today, Togilon and myself are fortunate enough to be at Dr. Ibrahim's house in Luton. We are here to interview him and hear about his life experiences. Thank you for having us today, Dr. Ibrahim. We will begin by asking Dr. Ibrahim a question, if you would not mind. Dr. Ibrahim, could you please tell us about your childhood? For example, where were you born and where were you educated?
I was born in the UK, in actually Dewsbury, which is in Yorkshire, and then Mum and Dad moved over here in Luton when I was one. So I've done most of my sort of living in Luton. I went to the local schools, Maidenhall School, primary school, then from there Chorney Secondary School, and then from there I went to the local sixth form college. I did my A levels, and after A levels I went to university. Actually took a year out before university, and I worked to save some money. Actually worked in the local, it was a sandwich making factory on the Biscuit Road, and I worked there for a year, and then after that I went to university in Dundee, which is in Scotland, and I read medicine there for 5 years, and graduated in 97, I think.
When did your parents come to the UK, and what made them decide to come to the UK?
Primarily it was probably socio-economical reasons that Dad came over here. Dad, when did you come to the UK? 65 or 65? 1965. Yeah, he was October. Yeah, he came in October 1965. They're originally from Meeper, near Meeper is a place called Kalyal, Chakswari, which is a village sort of outside, on the outskirts of Meeper. I think in 65, we lived quite near. There was a big project, a dam project in Pakistan, in Kashmir, in that part of Kashmir, called it's called Mangla Dam. It's quite well known. It's probably one of the biggest source of hydroelectric power, which has been generated from that area. So a lot of land was being utilised, which was very near to where Dad lived, and some of their lands encroached into where they lived. And so lots of people were actually, because of that, I think the people were being displaced, and some were being, because they've been displaced, I think there was probably some money associated with it, which was enough to for them to actually spend to come over. At the same time, I think in the UK there was a skills shortage. There was the industry needed people working in sort of mills and factories, and so there was a demand. So there was a lot of work available here in the UK. So obviously that matched, and money was, they could earn money which was much more than they could earn in when they were living there. So he went over in '65. He originally stayed in Dewsbury, and he worked in the textile mills there. He tells me that in those days it was tough times. They got married in '72 and moved over in '73, and then when Mum moved over, they moved. I think him and his cousins and Mum moved to a different place, and they lived there for 1 year. I think that was the '70s. There was some problem at the time, economic problems at the time. there was issues, I think, and the work was starting to dry up in Dewsbury, and we moved down to Luton then. And Mum had some family in Luton, and we moved to Luton so a year after I was born. There was a bakery in Selborne Road, and he worked there for a long while. And as far as I can see, he was a hard worker. I can never, I mean, he used to work as many hours as possible.
What languages do you speak, and which one do you most predominantly speak?
I speak predominantly English, though I speak English and I speak, it's a Pari, which is sort of a dialect of Urdu, Punjabi, and I do speak Urdu as well. Mum and I've made sure that we kept some of our sort of traditional roots, and we read Urdu. They taught us Urdu, so I can read and write Urdu to a basic level, and didn't much use it until actually since I started working, and then because of the area I'm working, actually I use my Urdu skills have come on a lot. So I tend to use a lot of Urdu when I was actually Urdu and Pari when I was speaking with my patients locally. So, but I think I would say predominantly English is what I speak normally. I think in English.
What made you decide to become a doctor?
When I chose my subjects, I sort of I had a natural interest in sort of science subjects, but there was no one in the family I thought who was a role model. So it came internally, I think.
Being a member of an ethnic minority, you have achieved so much in such a short period of time that your community must feel proud of. What message would you like to give the listeners of this interview?
We're living in a country where we have so much opportunities, which our parents and grandparents who are living in sort of countries where the opportunity wasn't there. We should make use of this opportunity and not waste it, and work hard and sort of have. I think the important is to have some sort of a focus early on and work towards a goal.
Thank you for your time. I wish you further success in all that you do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You had a very good interview.
Okay.